We're in Vancouver, British Columbia, visiting with Norman Hunt. So we're glad to have you here with us. So Norman, I guess you can first tell us about your heritage.
I'm Cree. I'm registered in the Mistawasses, but I was told I was born in Montreal Lake. Like my mom told me that she had gone out to get firewood, and this is in March, right, Saskatchewan, and like storms are happening. Usually happen in March in Saskatchewan, right there, the blizzards and that. And she went out to get some firewood, and she went to labor with me, and you know, that's what she told me. And she lay down under a pine tree, and she started screaming, right, like yelling. And these two women, they heard her yelling, so she came and helped her deliver me. And one of them was the wife of a guy named Norman Bell, and the other woman was the wife of a guy named Walter Henderson. Like I met Norman Bell, like he's like they say in Cree, my Kwame, right? And anyway, that's where I got my name, Norman Walter, right? And because of these two women who helped deliver me in that winter, just before a blizzard. Well, the blizzard was happening. You know, so I just about didn't make it into the world, right? You know.
Well, that's pretty interesting. Anyway, so you're brought up in
Prince Albert. Well, in a foster homes, like I started off in residential school. I was dragged out of my mother's arms, and when I was 6 years old, and I still see my mother the way she looked when I was 6 years old. She must have been in her 30s or something. You know, she was. I still see her there when I was like, it's because like that's a trauma you can't overcome, right? Like it's being traumatized like that. You know, I remember what happened that day. Like they came to pick me up. They were dragging kids into the school bus, and I'm in my mother's arms, right? And I'm just wondering, why are these people, you know, letting them steal their children, right? You know, because children didn't want to get on that bus, and this guy was hauling them on. He must have been between 20 and 25 years old, you know, so, and like I'm looking at them getting dragged on the bus, carried on the bus, and I'm looking at them just like, you know, why are they doing this? And then all of a sudden this guy standing in front of my mom, right, and he's reaching out for me, and I'm trying to hang on to my mom. Hey, Kiko, what is this? You know, like I'm freaking out, because here's I'm being dragged away from my mom, right? Being carried onto the bus, and like you don't forget the trauma like that, you know. And later on, when we were on the bus, I kept trying to escape, kept trying to run away, and finally the bus driver shut the door and drove off. Like the rest of the people are cheering outside because, you know, it stopped the other kids from, you know, getting dragged away, right? Like gave them one more day with their parents at least, right?
So when did you come out of residential school?
I was 9 years old, so that would be 66, I guess.
Yeah. So what happened when you went back?
Well, my mom thought she could take care of us, and she took us out of residential school and tried to care for us, but you know, she was an alcoholic already, right? And her man that she was living with at the time was, you know, alcoholic too, right? And she ended up getting sick from her alcoholism, and they dragged us out of there and put us in one home after another for a while. They're like from when I was 9 years old, right? To, I don't know, so I was still 9 years old, or just months, but I was probably in about 3 or 4 homes before I was put into a home in Mistawasses, right? And like the way I was treated by white people in foster homes, I was treated the same way by First Nation people in a foster home, right? Like it didn't make any difference. So like my racism was not that, you know, wasn't really there yet. It was until I ran away from that home, and then I started mingling with my peers, other First Nation people, that they start talking to me about how they hate the white man, how they hate the cops, they hate everybody, right? And it grew on me, right? I wasn't really a racist because I was treated the same way by both, you know, in foster homes, like totally abused by both of them. And so I didn't really hate anybody at that time. You know, I just ran away from that foster home, and then I was in, what do you call those, boarding homes for a while, and until I was 16, and like this family like adopted me, right? By like, you know, they just come live with us. I went and lived with them, right?
Where was that?
That was in Prince Albert, and they already had a lot of children, you know. But like, you know, we got along, and I just stayed there till I was 19, and then I got hit the road, right? Grow out of when you're age out of foster care, it's usually what they do, beat it.
So did you get to go to school then?
Yeah, I was going to school. I went as far as grade 9, and I kept dropping out until I totally dropped out, and then I went to what was it, the GED. I took the test for GED, and like I didn't have that book to give you, right? I didn't have that book, so I read a lot of books, you know, and I ended up passing my GED 12.
So what did you do after that?
Well, I was in and out of jail like for a while there till I was 28, and then I started. I had a dream. I don't know if it was a dream or a vision, but up to the time I was 28, like from 1 to maybe 1 to 9, I kind of had a so-so belief in God, but from 9 to 14, that was taken away by the different homes I was in, and like I guess I kind of believed in residential school a little bit, but I didn't know what it was. You know, they used to give us a penny to drop into the offering. They give us. I tried to steal that penny, right, so I could buy 3 jawbreakers, but they took that away. They found out I just stole it, so they took it back. So, but I really didn't have a knowledge of God, right? I really didn't know who God was. Okay, I saw a dead dog in a ditch, and like it was just, I saw the maggots and it smelled, but I didn't even notice that, right? Because I was intent on trying to find something else, right? But you know, I didn't see nothing, so I just thought, so that's how we live or die, right? We're just dying like that dead dog, you know. And before that, like people were telling me that the spirit was around us, you know, and like. And also, like, it's just always the devil will get you, the devil will make you pay if you do something wrong. It was never like God is going to reward you for this, or God will give you something for this, right? There's always the devil will get you, you know, always. Never about God, right? And like, it was like the spirit was always around, outside of us, you know. That's what I was taught up to the time I was 16, I think, and then when I was 16, I just totally gave up, you know, like didn't bother believing in God anymore, right? There is no God. So I lived my life that way, not believing in God, and continued to go in and out of jail till I was about 28. And then when I was 28, I had this dream or a vision or something, and like I was sleeping on the floor, and my brother had come in from the reserve for a bus test, because he drove a bus on the reserve, and he had to renew his bus license, and he had to take a test for it. And so he was sleeping on the couch where I usually slept, and I slept on the floor, right? And sometime in the morning, this is in Saskatchewan in the summertime, right? And it's daylight already, about 4 or 5 in the morning. And I woke up and I looked around and I said, oh, my brother's still on the couch, right on, we can party some more. And then I looked around the room, and the pictures that were on the wall, like, were still there, right? And then I turned over to get up, and there I am. I'm still on the floor, right? And I freaked out. What are you doing down there? Get up, you know, like I was trying to pull myself up, but my hands went through my shirt, and I tried slapping myself to wake up, and my hand just went through my face, and I tried grabbing my arm. Come on, wake up, you know, you're supposed to be with me, you know. And I was just terrified, right? And I started crying, and then I woke up, right? Because I gave up, and I couldn't wake myself up, and I gave up, and then I really woke up, right? And I didn't sit up right away when my eyes opened. I looking around, right? Because of what I just seen, I was scared to sit up, right? But I did sit up, and I looked around, and like I was awake, right? And I got up, and I wondered what happened, right? What was that, you know? And I asked people about it, and somebody said I was going to die soon. Somebody said I had some kind of a vision, and somebody else said I had out-of-body experience, right? And I didn't understand that at that time, out-of-body, right? Because I didn't believe in God, and besides, I was always taught the Spirit is around us. And it wasn't until later that summer that I started to believe in God. Like before I didn't believe in Him, but when that happened, I started to believe in Him, right? But I didn't accept Jesus right away. I believed in God, but I didn't want to be a Christian, right? Because, like, you know, all the things that happen in residential school and all these things that happen in foster homes, like all these religious people, right, trying to teach me about God.
Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe. Help my unbelief."
I was reading the Bible one day, because I read it every day. After that, I believed in God. I started from Genesis, and you know how you read in the Bible, there's two sides to every page. I started reading, right, in the beginning, God created, and then over here, you got this other side, right? You got to read one side and then come up the other side. And I went across, and I was going like that, and then I stopped, and something's wrong, you know. Why is this? This is the sixth day, and everything is good. And then over here, he's talking about, you know, something else about creation stuff, right? And then I looked at it, and I realized that there's two stories, two pages on one page, right? So I started reading like that, and I started with Genesis, then I went to Matthew. Like, that's how I started reading the Bible. And somebody told me first, you should read a book in the Bible, you know. Start reading a book in the Bible. So I looked in the Bible, and I saw Jude. It was the shortest book in one page. So I started reading Jude, and it talked about all the ungodliness, this and ungodly. You know, he's talking about all the ungodly things people were doing and everything like that, right? And then I kept reading, and like later on, I went to Genesis and Matthew, and I came to Ephesians, and Ephesians said, there was a part in Ephesians that said, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." And that registered, right? Because at that time, there were so many people talking about witchcraft, Indian medicine, right? They're talking about that. And somebody would use Indian medicine on this person, and now somebody used Indian medicine on this woman, so she would go with them, right? Stuff like that. And I wondered at that time if somebody was using medicine on me, right? Because of the way, you know, because like it was, and then that verse came, and that was when I realized that because of my drinking and my drug use and that, I was using it on myself, right? Because that's basically, it's not really like alcohol, you know, they call it spirits and stuff, but I know it's not that, right? It's just that it felt like I was using, like, just like that spiritual wickedness in high places, right, was against me, and I was helping it with my alcohol and my drugs, right? You know, my smoking and everything else that I did in my life, right? And, I kept reading, and it wasn't until about 6 months later that I accepted Christ, because of the verse in book of John where it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And that was, kind of registered. And then further down in about 10 or 11, it says, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and it was like we were walking in His light, right? But, we rejected Him. And then that was when I realized that Jesus is the Word, that He's the flesh, that He's the Word that became flesh and dwelt among us. Like He walked with us in Israel, right?